What is up, everybody in the Black Flame universe? How are we doing on this fantastical satanic Saturday? Man, it's been a minute since we've been able to do this show. It's one of my favorite shows to do with my brother here, Robert Lasardo. Back, back and better than ever, man. Back and better than ever. And thank you to everybody that has already tuned in. This is that time to share this shit out anywhere and everywhere. Somebody could use a little bit of light within the darkness, because we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. As you know, we've been covering all different aspects of Uncle Charlie, as well as things surrounding him that constantly trying to cast negative light on the outlaw shaman himself. And we're coming from a different aspect this time. I've been thinking a lot about death lately. How about you, brother?
Every day, trying to die to something that binds the being into a contracted state where it can't be free.
Mm-hmm. And trying to find that freedom, within ourselves. A lot of the times, most of us, I think, most definitely are trapped in their head all the time. We were actually just kind of talking about that a little bit about, the cosmic gag reel that is sharing, hey, look what I did, or look at what I'm doing. Or it's like, okay, how about just letting that, whatever you do affect people the way it does. I mean, in business, it's like it's one of those unfortunate necessary evils. But when people try to profit from prolific people in our history, missed you too, Meredith. Good to see you. Lizzie and Morty, good to see you as well. Is kind of where it really chaps my ass. I mean, we've lost greats like Ozzy recently. That's the tattoo that I was getting today. I got a little memorial tattoo. He was like a second father to me growing up, to be quite honest.
I don't.
And I always used to make fun of people for getting band tattoos. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing that for? Put the CD in. You're honoring them, right? Oh, but it's the album cover. Yeah, but come on, that's not original, right? Well, here I am, and I ended up finding something halfway original to put on my bicep there. It's, it's kind of like the Speak of the Devil cover, but it's Ozzy's silhouette of himself, his head on the head of the bat with bat wings, and then, his little logo. I'm like, I had to, man. I cried for I was just massively shut down for about a week and a half when that happened. Mm-mm.
Reaper, I find it curious that some individuals I've come across over the years saw the music, even in the genesis of it, Black Sabbath, when they were just putting it together, as a phase they went through. Because I remember listening to some Black Sabbath, I don't know, probably like early 2000s, and some person I was staying with at the time said, oh, yeah, I used to listen to that. I went through that phase. And I thought, it ain't a phase, dude.
What the fuck?
The music's not a phase. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being. It's a way of seeing. It's liberating, dude. It's more than a phase. A phase is like some, pop shit. And Black Sabbath was anything but pop music, dude.
That's because
very spiritual. Very
absolutely. It was dark and gritty and made people uncomfortable because that is where they came from. They were talking about what they lived, what they grew up around. And then it kind of like existentially grew more spiritual as they delved into, darker topics and things.
I don't know, generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. That's kind of perennial, dude. Generals have been gathering in their masses for a long time to create destruction upon the world and other people below them that they think is below them, the proletarians. And many beings have suffered under the weight of such things. And I think that's quite esoteric. and
Very much
profound and
so.
almost a Shakespearean type poetry in the form of the music. So, it, it's I don't know how dark it is. I think, like you all said earlier when we are talking about the light within the darkness, that type of poetry, that insight within the lyric, combined with great music, to me is liberates the being and shows
Very much so.
reality, man. Yeah, it lifts the veil. It's the apocalypse in that sense. It lifts the veil of ignorance to show what these devils that run the world are up to. And you got musicians and creative people that band together to communicate that, but at the same time entertain you. How hard is that to do? It ain't easy. So in that sense, I
Nope.
think there's the genius of it, isn't it? So to call it a phase or a fad really is an insult and diminishes what it is, dude. So clearly I don't
Absolutely.
talk to those people anymore. Got nothing much to say to them except adios, amigo. Have a good one.
I
You
feel
know,
that.
yeah, we
Uh,
did. See you later.
I've never, ever understood that. Oh, when I was in my goth phase, or when I was in my, um, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I
like
do. I do.
it's a part of you, no matter what. Every different type of music. I listen to all kinds of stuff, man. I really do. And I still listen to the same shit that I grew up listening to. I've discovered some newer things, but music just, we've said it before, doesn't have the same soul that it did. It's not as creative. It's it goes right along with that whole technology idea. It's like too much, too many ways to have somebody else do the heavy lifting instead of being from your heart. So I can't really say that there's too much music of today that really touches me the way a
Do
lot
you
of.
think it's a question of that the people in power that run that game, the music
Mhm.
game, won't allow certain types of musicians with things to say that could potentially make impact because they've awakened to some realization about
Yep.
what's going on, are not allowed to communicate that music. They won't sell it to the people because they feel it's a tough sell, and the audiences have become impotent in their insight. They don't possess necessarily. I'm not saying it's the case, but they may not possess the I don't know. The music might demand too much from the audience. They may not get it, or that even if they did, the money people don't want to take that sort of gamble. It's too
Sure
dangerous,
don't.
too risky. They want to stick with a very specific formula that creates a frequency to either zombify the people or to get them worked up or get them angry or communicate some type of lascivious message, that lives in the basic primal beats of the species. It's lower frequency. It's not
Mhm.
raising consciousness to sounds and music and lyric that suggests a higher intelligence through music. But do you think it's that they're not allowing it to, or do you think that the people that can create that sort of music and lyric and have the insight to see what's going on are not being allowed to sell it? They're not. It's not being bought by the corporation, or it's not being bought by anybody. They don't want it. It's kicking it back and saying, no, we don't want this stuff.
Well, yeah, I actually very much do. I think they want flashes in the pan. They want something that fits in that mainstream box where if I invest in you, I'm going to get my investment back. It's a cash grab. And a lot of times these industry people create bubblegum pop stars as a way to I'm going to kind of piggyback off what you said there with those certain types of frequencies, because you know, beats make us move. So it's rhythm. It's the frequency of rhythm. And what's that going to do? It's going to make you, wherever you are, you hear that song, you're going to buy something because you're going to start to dance. And when you start to dance, that gets people to spend money. Whether it's, buying drinks for somebody you home with, or, you know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at that. A lot of this commercial stuff, it's, oh, we'll sell out the, $250 million stadium that we built that, you know, doesn't really do anything other than football, you know? So when it comes to that type of music, yeah, I don't think there's nearly as much heart in that stuff, but the true poets are still within the underground. The independent level of the industry is the only thing that I see that stays fucking original. Countries even bought into the mass, you know, mainstream idea of what's cool music. It's like, okay. And I don't know. I was just in the tattoo shop today and was listening to this song where it was like talking about, well, you know, if we fuck, can we just be friends and fuck? And I'm sitting here going, that's a song. I looked at my artist and I said, that's somebody having a conversation, you know, on the phone or in person. There's nothing of depth there. So I'll stick with my classics, man. I love my classics. I always will. But what I don't like is when some of these prolific people of all art and spirituality suddenly become the focal point of getting picked clean by whoever wants to gain some sort of notoriety, lies about it, you know, centering around Uncle Charlie.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's beyond me why. I mean, I get it because obviously his circumstances weren't necessarily like Ozzy's. You know, who's to get the estate? How do we prove that? And, you know, there we go. This guy jumps up by the name of
Michael Channels.
Thank you. Got to get my notes up here. Michael Channels, man. What the fuck? And thanks to you, Robert, that really led me down a rabbit hole that I wasn't even really truly aware was happening. So he claims that he was a pen pal to Charlie since the 90s. Mm-hmm. But after digging around, comes out that, you know, he never even met Charlie until, what was it? Early 2000s? 2002, I think. Mm-hmm. So, and no one thought that this guy was some kind of a fucking crackpot. Who is looking for his, you know, I don't know, 5 minutes of fame or just a way to make money because he's a piece of garbage. And there's other folks involved too.
Well, let's focus on him for the moment. Then we can
kind of
intersect with some of these other characters. I think it's important to feed the audience
each one of them
back.
Yeah.
I think it's important to feed the audience a little background on Michael Channels if they don't know.
Yes.
What he does is he goes to Chatsworth down at the Spawn Ranch there, what's left of it, and he takes these stickers and he puts them on things and objects, you know, with the relics of the old cars and things. And it's a company. It's his website. It's I think it's called Back Porch something, and then and he basically advertises.
Back Porch
he advertises on the side is things that he grabs from the what's left. He chips away at the cave, the rocks and the trees, and he sells these things. You might find a piece of wood from, you know, something that was 40, 50 years old and sell it and make money. He's profiting off of what's left. Mm-hmm. And I find that to be, I don't know, sacrilegious. It's just a disgrace. I don't think
it's very disgraceful.
Yeah, I don't agree with any of that. So that's just my opinion. But so just so people understand, he's, you know, spent a lot of time writing Charlie over the years. He claims he wrote him for 30 years and then finally met him the one time. And then now also claimed that, you know, Charlie sent him a handwritten will, you know, naming him as the sole beneficiary and executor of the will, which is, you know, pretty, that's quite the claim. Yeah.
That's ballsy.
Yeah.
I mean, he it's like he almost handpicked Charlie because he figures he's got no one. And I think he may have seen him as a target and was trying to maybe groom this idea early on.
Yeah, I think that's a piece of it. I think also if you study his background, him and his father were like, he was fascinated with serial killers, you know.
Yep.
And spent a lot of time in that particular world. And I think and so to correlate Charlie with that to me also is a misstep already. So he was fascinated with serial killers, and so he started writing Charlie Manson, you know, and then when he finally got a response, I guess, you know, ran with that, you know, and then kept writing him. And then, like I said, he's done his best to demonstrate the same mentality of exploits that most people have. If you look at his IMDb, he actually has an IMDb account, Michael Channels, as a locations manager and a set decorator. He played party to a couple of movies. One is called Manson Speaks Inside the Mind of a Madman, 2017. He's a party to that. Plays himself in that. I guess they interview him. There's another one called Death Dealer, where he was a location manager for that. And then The Final Words, which is in 2017, and he played location manager. So he's lent his name to these movies that to me are I haven't seen them. I won't see movies that have these type of titles.
I won't either.
And if you look at the imagery that's used, it also suggests the same old, you know, cash grab that you mentioned, and the spotlight on Charlie that makes him appear a certain way that's nefarious and evil rather than say anything. You know, all these years that he's communicated with Manson, with Charlie, you would think that maybe like George Stimson, like Nicholas Schreck and others, Lynette Fromm, would come forward with the realization that everything that people have been trained to believe about the man is not completely true, and to communicate along that line rather than be basically a profiteer, you know, someone who just collects the information, collects the memorabilia, and just, you know, just exploits and sells the friendship back to the public. That's what he did, in my opinion.
No, and it's a bullshit friendship at that.
Yeah.
He literally is enamored or enthralled with, you know, serial killers. And I got to agree with Meredith too. Like, wonder, you know, how many others he's reached out to, like Dahmer or Berkowitz when they were still around. But I mean, it really shows to me just from the get-go that he formed a relationship because he figured out how to do it and knew that he would probably get some kind of notoriety. Oh, Charlie Manson's been talking to you. Now he's someone special. Maybe his dad didn't make him feel special. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. Yeah. And here he is, you know, much like most of us were, you know, horror buffs when we were kids. But we don't go to cons to make ourselves feel like we're special because we, you know, got to meet him or anything, you know, oh, look at me, you know. It's the same thing. Like, you know, we can tie it right back into what we were talking about with social media. That it's like, hey, I'm somebody now. And he kept this relationship going. And somewhere down the line, obviously this guy's out of his fucking gourd. In my opinion, Charlie's the fucking sane one here. You'll never sell me on that, you know. And I bet you Charlie knew too, even though he was, you know, pen paling back and forth. And you know, maybe Charlie may have, you know, imparted some wisdom, hoping this dumb fuck would probably go somewhere else. Leave me alone. I'm happy. I am free within these confines. Yeah. You know,
Charlie was good that way. He wrote people back.
Well, sure.
He was considerate that way.
He didn't look at them as fans. He didn't look at them as, oh, you're my part of my flock now. That was never Charlie's way. You know, especially after everything we had talked about, how he protected people who probably would have never protected him, you know. But I think he viewed, you know, this individual as, okay, I'll entertain you a little. Maybe it was just for some fun, in my opinion. But sign his fucking will over to him, though. I gotta give that a hard pass. I don't believe that he would do that.
Yeah, I think TMZ did a little thing on that, and they looked at it and they saw the signature that looked more like a rubber stamp, just some generic Charles Manson signature thing that you can get anywhere. So they haven't been able to
Sure.
authenticate it, and it's been 8 years, an illegal lock of speculation whether or not the thing's even legit. So that has to say something to you as well, that it's not credible and it can be
No.
argued. The interesting thing too, I think, is that when Charlie passed in 2017, Michael Channel didn't waste much time going
Mm-mm.
down to the court and filing
I think he was
for the
waiting for it.
filing the petition for the will. He didn't waste much time. A few days later, there he was,
Bam.
laying claim to something.
Just like that.
Yeah. As he
Before,
also continues to go down and to encroach upon a sacred place and sell this memorabilia on that back porch tapes website of his or YouTube channel. They put stickers all over the damn place. The cave where I filmed American Trash, if you look at it now, it's shrinking because it looks like someone's literally going down there and chipping away at the rock. There was a video I made for you some time back where I showed you this commemorative spot with someone who had carved CM, the initials of
mm-hmm.
Charles Manson in rock, and they had placed this altar of wood, like fallen trees, in this kind of circle around it. And then I went down there not that long ago, and somebody went down there and took all the logs and just threw them to the side. And they took some type of, I don't know, some type of device and just try to sandblast the initials off the rock.
Mm.
Yeah. So whether it's him doing it or him bringing attention to people to go down there and show people maps how to go to sacred places that are kind of hidden away.
Right.
I'm not going to mention what they are,
Nope.
but there's certain places that only people who have an affection for the history of the ranch would know about, because they go down there not to profit, not to disgrace, not to steal, but to simply enjoy what's left and go exploring. There's some really beautiful areas there that require a lot of rock climbing, death-defying physics, that if you miscalculate, you're going to fall into your death. So it's a very tricky trail behind the ranch, wherever it is, where there's places you can go. Where back in the 60s, when they were living there, that the so-called family members would, they would hang out at, man. They're these private little, places. And when you make a map of stuff and show people how to get there, then next thing you know, people are coming down there. He spray painted something on a car. Michael Channels, he wrote something. I think he wrote his logo back, whatever the hell the name of Back Porch Tapes on a car.
Oh, man.
And so he's making it a point to turn it into a mall, into like, hey, come down here and shop by way of the ranch. It's just like he depreciates it by putting a price tag on it, which is a banking mentality that goes against everything that Charlie communicated and how he saw life. He wasn't the money mind kind of person. He walked away from
No.
He walked away from what people call success and fame. He didn't want. Once he took a close look at it, he realized the peril of that type of lifestyle, and then he came from a different world, and it made him sick. And so I don't think he would support anything about the glorification of things that involve money and status.
These were spiritual places.
Yeah.
This was places of meditation to celebrate just being alive and being within nature.
Yeah.
This is definitely not something that Charlie would have been about. He wasn't a two-bit hustler like this asshole is. I don't know how this son of a bitch can live with himself, to be perfectly honest. And
people find all kinds of ways to justify their treachery, man, in this world.
Sure. Until
all kinds of ways to do that.
Until he comes across the right person and they suddenly make an example, or at least tell him about himself.
We can only hope for that to happen. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, he's in a legal lock with Jason Freeman, the grandson of Charlie Manson, who's got the the ashes and basically an actual person who shares the bloodline with Manson, and so these two men now are in a legal lock over the estate.
And this is like going on 7 years now, right?
Something like that, I think.
That's what I had written down in my notes. I mean, it's gonna take a minute, but I also, I think about it too. I mean, it was probably helpful that certain people like Guns N' Roses and Marilyn Manson, utilizing remaking some of these songs definitely made his estate worth more. I will definitely agree with that. But it's like I kind of wish
look,
they
if
didn't do
famous
that.
musicians want to profit off this idea of a devil or some type of character
Right.
in history books
It's
and
a
make
shock.
music,
Yeah.
let them. I don't care one way or the other about Marilyn Manson or Guns N' Roses or anybody who utilizes
Especially
their
not Guns N'
talent and
Roses.
platform to aggrandize something and then, like Rob Zombie, run away from it when the whip comes down. Some of us don't run away when the whip comes down. We don't change our opinion because
That's
we're
right.
worried about how society's going to see us. We just don't give a fuck. Like me, I made a movie where I basically said I don't give a fuck, and I'm still coming under a lot of fire because I didn't make any money with my movie. I spent all my whole life savings to make my film, and I communicate Charles Manson as an environmentalist, not as a serial killer, not as a maniac, and no one's done that. And so it's a first. And so there's no big cash grab. I'm not some big celebrity. I'm just an artist who decided to be honest about something, and not in the moment of all these spotlights shining on what's left of Sharon Tate's house or Roman Polanski's house and taking the door off or something, or basically like you're just scavengers grabbing pieces of things and say, I own this because I have a lot of money and I'm going to play the evil guy or the radical musician guy. They're all just, to me, they're just posturing fools, man. They ain't the fucking real deal. The real deal got locked up and put in prison for 100 fucking years. That's Charlie. He was a musician. He was the real deal, and they locked him up for it. So anybody comes in late time trying to, I don't know, flex and act all crazy and kooky, well, then go make a fucking movie, dude. Or do something that's going to basically ruin and end your fucking career. If you can do that, then I have some respect for you, because then you don't give a shit about no ego trip. You don't care about your social media status. You don't care about nothing except being who you are and telling it like it is. And when you can just show me that, like Shrek has done, George Stimson, who don't give a fuck about Hollywood or about any of this stuff,
Hey, looking for
movies,
fame,
being on television. I don't give a fuck. I've been in it for 39 years. I don't give a shit how I'm perceived anymore.
At the end of the day, that don't mean a hill of shit in Calcutta in the first place.
Well, hey, you go to Calcutta, their whole thing is you see these Hindus sitting on the ground, smiling, looking at us Westerners like we're the fools, as we try to cling and grasp at things that ain't even real, dude. So Calcutta probably makes more sense than anything the United States and the Western civilization can come up with. And Charlie knew that. That's why he could sit in a meditative state in a solitary confinement for fucking a whole year and not freak the fuck out like most people would have.
I would like to see some of these people, now these fanatics or somebody just trying to use a symbol or this or that as a way to get ahead in whatever.
That's Halloween, dude. That's just fucking Halloween costumes and shit, dude.
That's right.
That ain't reality. Reality is a fucking bullet inside a chamber, chambering around and being committed to use that fucking pistol when it's necessary. That's reality. And dealing with the consequences when the bullet leaves the chamber. That's reality. Everything else is just puffing up and then hoping somebody comes to save you when that crucial moment comes, and either you got to bear death, prison, or any number of things when you go outside the social agreement. Charlie went outside the social agreement. But the funny thing about it is that he wasn't violent in the way he did it. Everybody around him was. Tex Watson was violent. Fucking what's his name? Bobby Beausoleil was violent. Susan Atkins was violent. Patricia Krenwinkel was violent. They were all up to something physically. Danny DiCarlo, the fucking Straight Satans, was a violent guy, but he turned snitch. So they all had something that involved some kind of criminality that involved physical violence. But yet when Charlie needed to go bargain with lots of papa to get the girl back,
right,
that Tex Watson had left with the Bernard Crowe, nobody wanted to come with him. He had to go there and talk to this drug dealer and try to get the girl back because they were going to kill her over the drug money that fucking Tex Watson stole. So at every turn, you got these characters around Manson that are initiating trauma, just like the media initiates trauma, just like this fucking what's his name, Michael Chan, whatever Channels is initiating this propagandic fucking show and tell, shock mall scenario to show, and then claim a kinship to somebody who, if he was in that circle back in those days, would have ended up in Shorty Shayland. They would have fucking cut him up and threw him in the drink, which is what happened to Shorty. They chopped him up and threw him in the fucking in the creek.
He wouldn't have lasted
ended
2
up
seconds.
In the creek with him, for being a snitch, a scandalous scumbag who disgraces places where he should be honoring those things, not fucking tearing them down for $1.50. But
no,
what are you gonna
and
do?
anyone that truly gets it would go there just to be there. They wouldn't go there to take a keepsake, a piece of it. The piece of it goes in your heart. It goes into your spiritual mind. It's not something that is for sale. And we're going to show you guys out there in the Black Flame universe just a little bit of just how sickening this fucking Hilljack is, because man, I sized him up as real quick after hearing his opening line. Thank you,
Welcome back to the back porch. Here we are again. It's August the 9th, or it was just the other day, and people come from all over the United States. Some people come from other countries to see Manson stuff, not just on August the 9th, but August the 9th is kind of, I don't know, I guess a special day, however you look at it, maybe not for the victims, but there are things that happen here at Los Angeles, and that's what we're going to cover today on this video, because there's people that came from other parts of the country, and when they come, they want me sometimes to give them a Manson tour. So I got to come up with things to do, and we came up with several things to do, several things that had ticketed events that we're going to show you every place we went.
If there was ever a truer statement than this, that man has a very punchable face. I mean, just a crackpot fucking shyster, 2-bit hustler that, he couldn't even pick up not even a pubic hair of one of Manson's balls, because this guy has no balls. This is a look at me. This is I am somebody because I was a pen pal, to Charlie. And this is how he honors that legacy. This is how he wants to show his relationship to the world.
He's following the same suit that Hollywood has.
Exactly.
Years. Hollywood has, whether it's high, like the Quentin Tarantino bullshit, or the low, exploits of horror films that painted Charlie as the monster in the 70s. They've all done the same thing. They saw an easy, quick way to make money and exploit. He says, "I'm going to take you on a tour," blah, blah, blah. And but he doesn't mention anything about taking a tour into the mind of the man himself and explaining some things that are beyond capitalism, beyond selling stuff, what the meaning is behind these things, what happened, and who the victim really is. He said victims. Okay, so yeah, some people died in that house, but why? What was going on? He don't want to talk about anything that's going to jeopardize his position, where he seems to sympathize too much. He has to play it that he's showing you things that are live in a history of diabolical memory. And for the victims, it may not be a cool thing, but I'm still gonna. It's not my fault that these things happen. I'm gonna take you on a tour through hell, show you who the devil is and all the things around this devil. And because people are fascinated with this sort of stuff, They'll go on a tour and look at horrible things. That's why these true crime shows, people watch them all the time. They want to hear detailed accounts about how Uncle Sally, Aunt Sally was killed. Uncle Henry was the one who actually did it. But little Jessie, who loved them both in her wildest dreams, couldn't imagine that her uncle was such a evil man. People love this stuff. And
They do.
And so he's just profiting on the bloodlust of the public's desire to take a trip through fucking hell, man. And it's very easy to paint those pictures that have already been painted for him.
That's
and
right.
He claims, as he says, to be a pen pal. I don't even know. Maybe he was a pen pal, maybe not. It's alleged pen pal. And I don't know if that's even true, man. It may be. Apparently, there's a picture he took with Charlie. I can see that. But that don't mean nothing.
That fucking picture that he used on that little Helter Skelter album cover that he showed. I'm like, I'm wondering if you photoshopped that shit. Because I wouldn't put it past this.
You're more paranoid than I am, Reaper.
I wouldn't put it past him. This guy is trying to show people that he's somebody to Charlie, or that Charlie was somebody to him. I don't think Charlie would waste his fucking time with this dude.
Well, let's see. Well, here's his. Let's look at his argument with Jason Freeman. So he basically said to Jason Freeman, "Well, look, you claim to be the biological offspring. You're the grandson of Charlie. How come you won't take a DNA test?" Well, because I have paperwork with Charlie Manson's actual signature that basically proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am in fact his grandson. It can't even be, hasn't been disputed. So there's no need. The court, no one is really requires that he take a DNA test, because it's been proven that he's his biological, it's his kin. It's like, Freeman has been legally recognized in 2018 as Manson's next of kin, or, and awarded custody of Manson's remaining, the ashes, that whole thing, tribute he did to them, that whole macabre thing with the body and all that crap he did. So he had his own little, variety show to show off Manson's remains and all that, which I found to be also very disrespectful. I didn't watch. I've never seen it. I've heard about it.
I've never seen it either.
Nicholas Breckes talked about it, but it's just him describing it is not something I want to look at. So they both have similar qualities in that they're big on exploits of things and to stand in the spotlight. One has some crocodile tears, and the other one is basically, put your credit card right here. He's showing you where the credit card machine is. So they both have something to gain, I guess. But then there's this other character that's appeared recently. His name's Daniel Argulis, who supposedly in 1959, his mom had a one-night stand with Charles Manson. And so now he's come forward claiming to be the son of Charlie. So this is a third element variable that now could complicate this legal lock that these two men are in, or these two creatures. You got Freeman on one side, you got Channels on the other. You got Michael Bruner, who's also surfaced as an alleged son, but appears less. His involvement is less. He doesn't seem to be ambitious about trying to grab hold of nothing. But Mary Bruner was with Charlie back in the day, and they had a kid together, Pooh Bear, so I mean, but that's another variable. Michael Bruner is the son, but he seems to be less ambitious in terms of money and capturing things as some of these other people might be inclined to do, which is the nature, it seems, in America to do stuff like that, to
especially the moment they die,
some exploit,
The moment they die, suddenly this person pops up. No, this person pops up. No, you put a price tag on it valued at $1 million. Shit, you might get half the Catholic Church to show up and say, I was part of this family too. You know what I mean?
The thing, though, why not? This was suggested to me by someone. It's not my own idea. That why not turn it the whole thing into a museum like the Prince did with his stuff? Why do they have to capture it? Why can't they just make it a museum and preserve it rather than capture it? Why not do something like that?
Why?
Because by the time the lawyers get involved, dude, and everything else, the value of the estate's going to depreciate. When Freeman's lawyer, this channel guy and now this other guy, Argulis, come and gets his lawyer. Between the taxes and everything else, ain't going to be nothing left.
No, not really, because they're all going to take their cut and say, "Hey,
yeah, man,
thanks for washing my ass for me."
So why bother? Why not then just honor the memory? Or if you hate them, but make a museum of your hatred. You know, people have done that with
Hitler.
Hitler.
They have the
make a museum to remind people of the peril of being a Charlie Manson. Remind people the peril of being a fascist dictator in Nazi Germany. Make a commemorative walk of shame in hell to scare people, to show them like this is not the way, man. Stay clear of this, guys. Preserve it. So for those who hate on it, they have the opportunity to view it with an open mind as they in their own free will, and those who have an affection for it will see it their way. But everyone is allowed the opportunity to view it rather than everybody try to grab hold of it and say, this is mine. How ironic for somebody who's so hated and this historical pariah. They want to grab hold of it. The media wants to shine a big light on it all the damn time, you know, because there's money to be made, which tells you about the people, doesn't it? Not so much about Charlie and everything else, but the people.
No, it tells you about the people.
Yeah.
1000%. It's like I said, you know, it's the vultures coming to pick the bones. And let's take it a step further. People do that to their own family members every day. Every day somebody loses a family member, they want their cut. Why should this be any different, right? But this is a bit different, though. We're talking about somebody that has been painted into a monster that actually never existed. This monster persona was created by the media, which is something I will always hate to this day. I was watching. They did an interview with Billy Corrigan from the Smashing Pumpkins, I think it was. Just a real quick, short thing about Ozzy's death, and the guy just wanted to keep talking about, but he bit the head off of doves and threw it on the table. He bit the head off of a bat at one of his concerts. You know, this, that, and the other thing. And here is someone who is very close to, you know, the Osborne family, and they're grieving, and you just want to keep talking about that shit. See, you know, you don't, the bad shit that everyone else has created. Sure. Yeah. Did Ozzy do that shit? Yeah. Was he proud of it? No. But at the same token, that's all that anyone ever wants to fucking talk about, even in 2025, you know, and how is it going to be any different with Charlie, unfortunately? And we're talking about two people that aren't from the same world, but at the end of the day, had something to say and a message of love and a message of peace. They weren't there to scare you. That was never the intention. You know, Ozzy said many times, you know, the fans made me a heavy metal godfather. I don't claim that shit. And that's, you know, we were talking about that too. People who have the gumption to be who they are all the fucking time, regardless of what anyone says about them, you know, and the fact that no one besides us, apparently, I mean, if we're the only two motherfuckers on the planet that really understand the legacy, you know, of Charlie, let us be it. Everybody else is going to be fucking blind. But at the same time, everybody that watches this channel knows my position and your position. So
yeah, that's probably why we don't have a whole lot of people watching, but that's okay. I don't really care. The thing is this, man, people are afraid to lose their positions, their stations in life. And if they have a lot to lose that they're attached to, like their money, their, you know, whatever. I had to learn with my film that it was going to get trashed sooner or later, no pun intended. And it did, because I have to believe people that don't like the theme and that how it, even the critics that like the film still have difficulty dealing with the Manson variable. And that's okay, man. I don't expect people to dig it or understand it, but I'm not going to deny
the
my
understanding
freedom of
part
speech to communicate it. So, but a lot of people, I feel, from what I've seen, don't want to go down that road. But I've already been put down that road in a way that I've been portrayed. You don't get to choose. They choose how they're going to place you in entertainment. Right. So it doesn't matter if I can speak the language of physics, or I'm a scientist, or I'm a philosopher, or I'm a poet. They don't care about that shit. All they care about is what they can sell, what they feel is an easy sell. They
Mhm.
categorize you. They put you in they put you, and they just you say, well, okay, and you take the job. You just do it. You don't get to choose. You don't get to pick. If you're in a position where, for whatever reason, you're cursed or blessed with a physical appearance that is easily sellable to the masses because
Right.
of the sex appeal that has always worked as a formula in Hollywood, then maybe as you gain power and money, you can influence those around you that make decisions and say, no, I don't want to do that. So you get to pick and choose. You're not always in the begging position. But for the rest of us, we're not a corporation. We're independent contractors that work for a power much greater than ourselves. It's always been that way. So when people say, man, why do you? I say, I don't do nothing. I am asked to do something. I have to make a decision whether I'm going to do it or not to make a living. Their perception of me, or anybody else, you, Charlie, any number of people, is going to be their perception based on a criteria that they have, a prejudgment, the way they look at things, and they don't take the time to consider what's behind them because it's a visual medium, and they have to sell
Mhm.
quickly what people would call a stereotype, a, a social phenomenon that can move a culture, or they can easily lay blame to something and then look at. So it's just a marketplace of to some extent a visual stimuli, pornography, to satisfy eyes, the eye candy, and then attach a story that also is shock treatment and gets the audience involved, engaged,
Right.
and exaggerates the life experience, whether it's the debasement of humanity through horror, the exploitive nature of romantic comedies that paint a picture that's very unrealistic in life and how it really functions in this idea of romance and love and how you build that house, or dramas in America that speak to certain social phenomena as well, that's manipulated and constructed to play to an agenda that won't upset the balance. And the other stories are kind of put to the side because they don't fit the checklist of criteria required to appease certain subcultures or certain belief systems, and so it's not even about making movies anymore. It's about selling a TV commercial to good consumers that abide by a fundamental belief system like religion, that if it goes against any of that, then it's declared an anathema, it's a curse, it's a heretic, it's to be deemed
I'll
not
always be the heathen.
appropriate to view. It's counterculture. It's artsy. It's weird. It doesn't. So you got to remember these things. And and and
Well,
and so
sure.
with Charlie's music and anything that is not in line with the agreement to sell something and cookie cutter it or homogenize it and pasteurize it, it comes at you raw, which can sometimes help humanity to feel and things that they benumb themselves to because of the systematic reduction of their intelligence, and they're just sitting in front of screens and, like I said, eating food and watching things, and their minds are becoming wastelands for the junk food that they're absorbing, so they can basically get off on watching either the best fantasy or the worst nightmare that the dream factory can conjure for the sake of distraction for an hour and a half. Whether that's art is questionable. Is it a product? Absolutely. Does it work for the mainstream audience? Absolutely, because people are infinitely pliable, naive, shallow, and will forever be that way. And the small percentage of the
Very true.
population that wants something a little bit with more depth can go to Europe or Denmark or Germany or France and watch movies over there that are not made with the same intentions that they make them in America, man. You got to diversify your observations in cinema, in life, and everything, so you can see not just from this myopic viewpoint, but you open up the curtain wide and let all the light in, so you can see this panoramic view of stuff, not this just narrow version of everything that lives in a social media agreement and an Instagram agreement, or I just booked something agreement. I'm on movies. I'm in front of. Who gives a fuck, dude?
Right?
Get off. Jerk off in front of the mirror, man. Like that. I guess for some people that want to commit suicide, like Charlie used to talk about, people who got the death wish, they can get away from me. I don't have any use for the people with the death wish.
Well, no, they don't have anything to offer. They don't have anything to say. There's no depth to them at that
But they asked Charlie, why do you play music? He said, I like to play music because I like to play music. I enjoy playing music. I like to practice. He didn't need nobody putting a camera on him to do it. He just did it. People now need a fucking camera on everything they do. They can't just simply do something out of love for it. They got to document every single step they fucking take. And I say, boo-hoo. I say, whoa, dude, man, like, do you even know how to have a real moment? Do you know how to exist in reality? How long do you spend every day sitting down reading, writing, studying, exercising, meditating? How much of your time is doing that? Or are you just taking pictures of your fucking self all fucking day? Or you're going on social media every day, sniffing up somebody else's ass, or finding out what's new and exciting? That's what most people are fucking doing, because they can't sit still, man, long enough to bear what that requires. Charlie did.
They're too invested in everyone else's lives.
Do that. All the lamas in Tibet do that. They just sit still and they don't
can't
move.
stand their own life. So might as well be invested in somebody else's life, right?
Or invested in your own idea of yourself, create a super ego to defy reality and think that somehow is going to save you. It ain't going to save you, dude. Death's going to still knock on your door and go, hello, okay, end game, end of your bullshit, time to go. And the quicker you learn to drop the artifice of what you think you are every fucking day, the better an artist you'll be, because you won't be concerned about how good the take was. You just do the best you can and ask the director, are you cool with that? And then move the fuck on. If you get caught up in the results, then you're not really you're not invested in creativity. You're invested in the result. You can't get invested in the result. You got to let it fucking go. I learned that through my fucking movie, dude, to let go of popular opinion. Fuck popular opinion and fuck not so popular opinion, because you can't please nobody. You can please the work order and the TV commercial minded people who want to see things predictably that will shock them, excite them.
They're addicted to carnage.
And you can play to the addiction. You can play to your own addiction. But once you get fucking bored with being an addict, dude, you just kind of like, this is a drag, man. Right. Let me go talk to a fucking tree. Makes more sense to have a conversation with the tree or look up at the moon than any of these fucking nutcases down here. Every 5 fucking minutes. What are you doing, Rob? What are you working on, Rob? What's the latest, Rob? I don't know, dude. I can't remember fucking, what I did 5 minutes ago, let alone have in front of me the call sheet of my accomplishments, man. You know what an accomplishment is, dude? To get you the day and not go fucking nuts in the world like this. Exactly. And do something really horrific to yourself and anybody else. You know what's really fucking controversial these days? To actually go out into the world and be nice and love people and be cool with them, and see a homeless person and realize that could be God sitting on the ground right there teaching you a lesson about something. And then you learn in humility to see things with new eyes and realize that, oh shit, that's a teacher right there teaching me something. So you open your heart in hell and walk around like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, man, going, hey, and despite what's going on around you, that's the lesson. But they ain't teaching that. They're teaching all this macho with the guns. I know all about it. Here, Rob, here's the gun. Here, Rob, go to prison. Hey, just like with Charlie. Charlie, I'm not the monster that you made me. That's why I put that soundbite in the fucking movie. Maybe you and 3 other people got that. Nobody else understood what I was trying to fucking say about all the people that have felt locked up in a perception based on popular agreement that says, oh, if you look like this, behave this way and do this, or bite the head off of a bat, you're we don't care about your music. We're going to focus on some
the crazy
moment
shit
in time
you
that's irrelevant
supposedly
to
did
anything
or
else.
did. Yeah. It's like, come on, man.
To me, it shows his commitment. It showed his commitment.
It did.
I'm going to bite the fucking head off of this bat. I'm going to bite the head off of popular belief, the popular and acceptable agreement. I'm going to do something, not perform it. I'm actually going to do it to demonstrate to you that I'm not lying. I'm the real fucking deal. And that's what Ozzy did. When he bit the fucking head off, he was showing you, I'm not afraid to do this.
Exactly.
Now, people can assume what they want about it, make their little judgments about it. But when you can go to that level and go beyond performance and go into a happening and embrace that shit full on, you make impact. And also people run the fuck away from you unless you have this kind of bizarre light around you, like Charlie did, like Ozzy did, like a few people had that worked well with media,
Absolutely. And I think that the media is not interested in what's real. They're only interested in somebody falling apart. They're only interested in people's worst moments when they're caught doing something, or, oh, you can't say that because, in 2025, you can't say that. Bitch, please. When you've lived as long as we have, if you don't get to the point in your life where what everyone else thinks doesn't matter, then you have not evolved. And I, man, across the board, that's why my circle is so fucking small. Because I won't, I'm sorry. Thank you. That's great. We talked a little bit. That's wonderful. And then if I don't see him again for another 20 years, it's no big deal. The only people that get it are the ones that are, we were talking about that, the art.
Chances are the people that get it, you don't know about because they're not proselytizing. They're not proselytizing anything. They don't make themselves seen. They make themselves unseen. So we probably don't know about too many of those people because they stay hidden because they know better. We are the media, my man. Here's the punchline. The media only survives based on observation. The media can't function without devotees. Here's how it works. Charlie said media is a rerun. It's a fucking toilet paper commercial. Public opinion is a little girl. Okay, so when you remove attention from media, if the whole fucking nation, like 85% of it, tuned out, the media would collapse. The only reason it's even sustaining itself is because people are viewing it. The moment you stop viewing it, you're no longer part of media. The second you give attention to media, you are media. That's how it is. It's a relationship. It's not polarized. It's not some separate thing. It needs addicts, like the drug dealer needs people to buy the drug to get high, to participate. Once you stop participating, it collapses, the business folds, it goes bankrupt, it's finished. Media sustains itself because the population is addicted to fucking what it's addicted to.
Misery.
Dude. And it just keeps tuning in. And it does it not just that way, it does it through the way it communicates to brother and sister. People send me their fucking media feeds. They talk to me like fucking commercials. They're not even human anymore, dude. The way they write, the things they talk about, where their attention goes. I'm like, dude, have you lost your fucking mind? They think I'm crazy? Dude, you guys are all fucking batshit, man. You guys give attention to things that aren't even fucking real, man. What are you doing, man? Wake up. But you can't get them out of it. When Charlie was interviewed that time, they said, well, Charlie, New Lemon's book, what do you think you're going to teach people about this book? He said, nothing. What can you teach other people, man? Nothing. Why? We're hitting them over the head with something? Fuck it. Don't even bother. Just walk away. Yeah. Let the stage collapse. You want to do something creatively, just fucking do it, man. But when you when somebody says to you, hey, man, can you promote this? Promote it. Somebody says, hey, Robert, promote this, promote it. Hey, Robert, we're worried about you. Why? You ain't been on social media in a while. Yeah, because I got shit to do. Are you all right? Oh, so my mental health correlates with me being on social media? I would think it'd be the other fucking way around. Me not being on social media correlates with good mental health. Okay, but they got it the other way, man. If you're not posting and you're not visible and you're not doing a little, a little whatever, fucking posturing, fucking pose of some shit you're doing, then somehow, are you okay, man? Are you working? How you feel? Dude, I'm fine. I'm fucking better than ever until I go into that vortex. I took down that rabbit hole, what you got.
Yeah.
And then I just want to have, and then I start getting, the thoughts come, what I'm talking about.
Well, sure. We're not allowed to take a break.
Like fucking pull a Genghis Khan, dude. You want to pull a Genghis Khan, man. Invoke the Mongolian Empire again.
Fucking Vlad the Impaler.
Make them all go away. But that doesn't work. Can't do that. That's that's not morally sound. So you don't do that. You just kick back and say, hey, it's all good, man. And this motherfucker here, Michael Channels, whatever his name is, and Freeman and the Daniel guy and everybody else, hey, if they want to grab hold of something, right, that's been deemed devil, let them. If they want to try to hold on to something that when Charlie was alive, physically, because he's still here right now. When Charlie was alive, he couldn't even hold on to it, and he didn't want to. He let it go. And as he let it go, they came after him. He let go of this idea of a bunch of things. That's why he was trying to get out to the desert, man, away from it all. But they kept pulling him back.
Right.
This bullshit with Tex Watson, the bullshit with Gary Hinman, the bullshit with fucking Patricia Krenwinkel and what's her name, Kasabian, and the fucking drug burn up at Cielo Drive and what's his name, Jay Sebring. All of a sudden, this guy Channels is talking about how the family is all, oh, Jay was a good guy. Yeah, he was, but he also was into sadomasochistic shit. He was a drug fucking dealer, and the guy
he was a hairdresser though.
Dude, like they just painted pretty. Let's paint pretty pictures, dude. Okay, paint pretty pictures all day, but how convenient though that it all goes back to who? To Manson.
Right.
Manson is the epicenter. He's the focal point of everybody's dialogue, man, to have a conversation, a debate, to go into legal lock over something, yet they're not going to embrace anything that he really talked about. They don't understand where he's coming from. Because
that's not hours
listening to what he said.
No, not at all.
No,
that's not what they want. They want the notoriety. They want to be the one holding the golden egg. The one that's, got a thicker bank account without having to even say one thing that fucking matters in the entire universe. Of course. Let's go do that because what? The easy way out is the best way. Shit, I was watching American Dad the other day. It was the episode where Stan and his son are working at a country club and he was trying to teach Steve. I know this is a real shitty example, but to me, though, in a fucked up way, it really made a lot of sense to me. He's like, I worked 30 years to get my, membership into this fucking club. And that's what I'm going to teach you. And then Roger's like filthy fucking rich and just takes Steve, says, no, you don't want to be with the peasants. You want to be with us because the easy way is the best way. No work, but get paid. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel a lot about, when you were talking about media and stuff like that too. It's all a cash grab, man. And when anybody, I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care. I am me 1000% all the time. I don't give a shit if this next movie is supposed to be the biggest this or the biggest that. You want me because you recognize real. If you don't, then you don't think that I'm going to invest in your shit just because I am one of those voices from the underground that pushes art. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, that episode
voices
just
from
really
underground that pushes art, dude. That sentence alone says it all to me. What you just said right there, dude, that fucking touches my heart. That's ultimately what it's always been about, I thought. And then I woke up one day and looked around and I go, oh no. Oh, I once said this to this guy, this older character actor. I said, hey man, my old teacher wanted me to go to school and talk to a bunch of these kids, his students about industry shit, right?
Yeah.
He said, okay, well, what did you tell him, Rob? I said, well, I do it because I love it. He said, you actually told him that? He said, you do it because you love it?
What?
Yeah. And he looked at me like I was some kind of like, I don't know, some simpleton, some fucking idiot who hadn't got the memo yet or the the information about the game and what's really going on. And it finally came to me what they're doing. But then, so I went through identity. I went through a crisis for a while, right? Artist versus ambition and all that shit. And you got to die for a while, then be reborn again and declare yourself as nothing and see if the art itself still lives within the being and is burning like a fire that you have no control over, that drives you forward into creation with other people of like-minded. What you find, though, a lot of the time is bankers. There are people that speak that, but then they got the banker mentality present with that. And ultimately what happens is the banker mind shows up and it eats the other guy. And then you're just left with the banker. Sometimes they coexist, which is rare. The banker guy goes, listen, I'm only here because I respect the aspect of myself that's created. But I also know that it's a business. And we got to approach this thing respectfully, intelligently, and with integrity, because it's a business and do good business. So I get that part of it. But when it becomes, oh, man, the Holy Grail, and you can tell they're getting excited and they want to change the world and they're like trying to up-level it. And look out, Hollywood, here I come. When they start saying shit like that to me, I'm saying, dude, look out, Hollywood, here you come. Dude, you're going towards something that isn't even fucking even there. You're going to go right to the Hollywood sign, to an illusion, and you're going to go into a black hole. Hollywood doesn't give a fuck if you're coming unless they can bend you over and figure out a way to have a good time and pay you a good cash sack, and you can live with that the rest of your fucking life. If you can live with the bend over and the trick in the prison called Hollywood and be okay with the exploits and being locked in a golden cage the rest of your fucking life, then you're good, man. You're sitting pretty. For those of us who don't, like a Rush song, who want to live beyond the gilded cage and get away from the limelight so we can be free and not be followed around and judge and evaluate at every fucking turn, man, then it's scary land. It's not Hollywood land. It's the devil's fucking playground, dude. A bunch of people have been writing stuff. Can you address some of these comments, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This one right here. My brother
There's been
Cody,
a couple I've seen come by.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to put them up as we go along, but I don't ever want to stop you from what you're saying, because you're speaking truth, brother, and it's the truth that I live every day.
What are some of the people asking about? What do they want?
Cody says the underground will always be where the real artists are. The underground doesn't have anything to prove to anyone but themselves, and that's the fucking truth. Meredith says, because bad news sells, that's the media all day long.
The question is, why does bad news sell? But then that's a perennial question that probably has no answer. It's the same reason Alexander the Great marched into Greece and killed all those people and murdered all the women and children. Why did that happen? Who knows why? I guess it's, why did he want to do that? Why did the Roman Empire exist? Why did all these things happen? It
was definitely for status and immunity from whatever bad, evil shit that he did. Kyler here, my brother, he says, I've been hanging on to this question for a long time. What do you think Charles' thoughts on love did that he believed in relationship, like his concept of love within relationships?
Okay, well, Lynette Fromm, he referred to Lynette Fromm always as his old lady, as his woman. Lynette was a big piece of this, and why, she hasn't even come forth. She's been quiet the whole time. So he had a great love for Lynette Fromm. He referred to her as his old lady in many interviews. And he also was asked, so what about love, Charlie? He says, I am love. You're all, yeah, I am love. I'm love all day, all the time. Oh, I am love. He didn't say I was in love. He says, I am love.
Right.
I am that.
Which they thought was just a cycle.
He understood the Buddhist teachings. He understood a lot of the stuff that was communicated by these yogis in Tibet about being in the present and getting past the negative and positive pole and existing in eternity and up-leveling while you're here. That's why the confines of the prison didn't make him nuts. He was able to find something within himself, that light. And people were, I guess, affected by that light And he
Right.
was a mirror to a lot of people. And I think if you have certain issues with yourself, Charlie would reflect that back to you. And you'd see that aspect of yourself. And you could blame Charlie for that, but he's just being a mirror reflecting you back to you. So his love giving was that his ability to be honest in his way he confronted you, man, and
Yeah.
probably called people out on their shit. That's a way to love somebody, by not playing a game. And people would say, well, he was a game player. Maybe with certain people that required a game, he gave them what they wanted. He gave them the game. But for people who challenged and wanted to know, or were seekers, maybe he just reflected back the same thing. And so they could, through the music, and if you listen to the lyrics of the music, home is where you're happy. It's not where you're not free. You know, there's lyrics that suggest a way of existing in the moment that defies the conventional construct. And anybody who understood that and felt the need for that could probably communicate with Charlie telepathically, didn't need words. And that love was in their ability to exist in those moments freely, man, and not get hung up on any ego trips, the money trips, the status trips, the drug trips, the cult trips. They had moments where you could hear it in the music. If you listen to the musical lyrics, it's indicative of a state of nirvana that transcends time and space. They're not talking about things that generally you hear in a lot of the pop music of that time, with the exception of the 60s movement that brought forth very poetic lyrics like the Byrds. Turn thing, you know, there's a season for this, there's a season for that. Buffalo, Springfield, you know, better stop, look around, see what's going round. You know, there was music that questioned the state of consciousness of the world we were living in, to awaken and do an om, you know, wake up people to see a reality that has been confiscated from the youth by traditional constructs that no longer made sense when people were being killed in Vietnam, and the Watts was happening, and the buildings were burning down, and Martin Luther King was killed, and Kennedy was killed. The very foundations of things were shaking and creating this earthquake where people were forced into realization about things, and they wrote about it. You know, now things are happening in the world of equal consequence in terms of violence and the potential of World War III. But instead of the revolution is in the phone.
Right.
The revolution is in the phone.
It's all predicated on that.
It's in the phone. So the magnetic force, the frequency to pull the attention into the phone, prevents the revolution from occurring.
That's right.
It stifles it.
It
prevents it, because they go, well, if we can get them to constantly be fascinated with their own vanity, ego, then they're not going to come into awareness and challenge the very construct that we're using to help move their own vanity trips.
It's another way to stay under the radar.
You know, they won't really do nothing. You know, they may blow some stuff up, burn part of Los Angeles down, but then what? Where's there's no thought behind it. There's no real, there's some thought that recognizes injustice. Yeah, this is not cool. What's going on here? But what else you got? What else you got? How deep are you people going to go with your awarenesses and your understanding to really topple the system? How are you going to do that? You're going to do it through music? You're going to do it through tuning out? What are you going to do? Are you going to ride around your car with your beats? You're going to flex?
No, trust me.
What are you doing?
Nobody,
man?
and that's the problem. You mentioned vanity, you know, quite a bit. People aren't willing to put their phones down. They're not willing to not buy this or not buy that because they haven't figured out that they've been brainwashed into believing that they have to have it, just like all this AI bullshit. You know, I mean, I've seen the good side of it, and for that, I don't mind so much. But then there's the other line. That where it can be very dangerous at the same time, but people aren't willing to shed what feels comfortable. And that's why I love making people feel uncomfortable. That's just me being myself, just like you being yourself. We make people feel uncomfortable, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, they might catch one thing. And if they do, great. If they don't, I'm just going to keep on being me. I don't give a fuck. I never have. If I gave a fuck, I wouldn't even be doing the shows that I do.
I appreciate that you do the shows, dude. No, listen to me. All right, listen. If you remember anything I said, because then I'll go on and on, but I appreciate that you do the shows. I love it. Listen to me. I appreciate that you do the shows. I appreciate that you take a position that's a non-position. It's not something that anybody can really grab hold of. You know, you can claim any number of things and then realize, say everything, you've been hoodwinked. I'm not any of these things. You haven't even figured out what I am, because I don't even know what the fuck I am. Hallelujah. And then you're free of any identity trip, man. That's how you blow people's minds, because you teach them to be free of a clinging to any fucking thing that makes them rigid and locked up in a belief system that limits them, man. And so you can play around with that thing with Manson when he's going, "Who are you, Charlie?"
Right? Am I mad, or am I just fooling you?
Nobody. Because he was showing the human condition. Everybody thought, "Oh, he's fucking nuts. Look at making all these weird faces." That was simply him demonstrating all the caricatures of the human condition, not only within himself, but how ridiculous everything around him appeared. So he was showing you, like a lama would, a yogi would, how transitory, how impermanent, how loose the personality is, how pliable it is, how it's this 1 minute, then you get older, you have a fucking stroke, your personality does this. You get older, something else, you have an epiphany about something else, your personality changes into money mind, or you become a good fundamentalist, you become a scientist, you drop certain tendencies and become another aspect. So him going, all of that is showing the condition of humanity changing its fucking mind all the time about what it thinks it is. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But when you recognize it's Halloween all the fucking time, maybe you can be loose with it and not so rigid, and stop fucking killing other people in the name of something. Or declaring our religion is the number one, we're the chosen and you're not, or we know something you don't know, or our music is better than your music, or this, that, and the other. All this horse shit, man. Oof. It doesn't recognize that the species is one. The species is one, dude. We all have the same thing in common. You turn off the oxygen, we all fall fucking down, dude. We're all dead. We're all dying physically in this realm. How we want to move through this experience is on us. If you want to make our life a television show and play party to the same gimmick of imitation of life that's been presented to us through media all the time, and get off by seeing this hyper accelerated version of what people think life is, because their day-to-day life, it's so fucking boring. My job, getting up every day. Dude, you're missing something then. You're missing something in that requires a spiritual awakening that turns that world that seems boring to you into something else. And it varies from person to person. But that's why people need to be introspective, in my opinion. They don't need to fucking do anything. They can continue to project outward and have things come at them and go into and be shocked into awareness. That works temporarily, but what really, to me, is effective. An introspective practice that completely obliterates this idea of the personality or this independent self. It makes it go away, dude. You're at a point like you don't know who you are, where you are. If you're going left or right, you're like, holy shit, I don't know how to make mind anymore. And you have what some of these, Ramana Maharshi, the Indian sage, he had an anxiety attack that lasted an hour because he couldn't make mind. He couldn't figure out who he was or where he was. He reached that state because he was constantly letting go, asking his devotees to ask the same question: who am I? Who am I really? Who am I? Over and over and over again. So you get to this point where all the concepts you've been trained to believe about existence fall the fuck away. And you don't even know how to identify anything anymore. It's like having a moment, a disassociation moment that psychiatrists would think you're crazy, but Ram Dass talks about everything he's experiencing now in meditation. As a psychiatrist, they would have put him away for, man.
Oh, for real.
He came into that realization. You know, Ram Dass. You know who Ram Dass is? The spiritual guru who passed away? Ram Dass? Yeah. He used to hang out with Timothy Leary. Timothy Leary turned him on to acid. And they used to get high together and up-level it and have all kinds of vision. Then Ram Dass realized that he wanted to get free with it. He didn't want to get high. He wanted to just get free, dude. Because he couldn't deal with the come down. That's the problem with the movies and everything, all the stuff that people do. I got to go to the next one. What's the next one, Rob? What's the next thing you're doing? Feed me something. And I can't feed them because I'm not going to that. It doesn't do that for me anymore. That's not my get up. I'll do the work. I'll give them what they want. I know how to do it, but
right.
I don't go at it the same way. It doesn't. It's not an addiction, man. It's not like if I do this and then this will happen and then suddenly I'll be floating above the fucking ground. Dude, you can do that right now without any circumstantial event occurring in your life.
100%.
You can do that right now. You don't have to have an event. Win the fucking lottery. What is the lottery anyway? Except an opportunity to make many mistakes with too much fucking money. You don't even know what to do with because you realize that the money is not going to save you from physical death. Nor is it going to make the problems going to go. It's going to give you a whole bunch of other problems. People say, I must be well. I'd rather be more positioned with money and have those sort of problems.
Oh, please. That just makes you more miserable. There ain't a single motherfucker out there that's rich that is living a life meaningful of anything. Come on.
Well, they're a slave to that, aren't they? They got $1 million. Ram Dass said this. Ask the guy who has $1 million. He'll tell you he wants 2. Then the guy's got 2, wants 3. It never fucking ends, man. Because that practice involves more. I want more. And if I get more and I'll achieve this apex point, and when that clicks, everything will be nirvana. I'll be in that state. Doesn't work that way.
Sure don't.
If it worked that way, listen to me. I'll shut the fuck up after this. If it worked that way, all the leaders or so-called counterfeit leaders or devils that run the world, Reaper, all the devils and counterfeit leaders that fucking run the world, they would simply give all the money back.
Wouldn't they?
They would resign their stations and figure out a way to clean up the planet, dude. They would have a whole plan. Instead of building a rocket ship to go out into space, they'd use that rocket ship to get all the land masses of garbage that are flying 50 miles in the Pacific, gather all that shit up, put it in a fucking rocket and shoot it out toward the sun and burn it up. They would use science and all the great minds in the world and the resources that we have, because we still have a lot of resources. We would use them to work and coincide with Mother Nature and heal all the damage that we've done. But they don't want to do that because they have to relinquish their stations and give something up. It requires the ultimate fucking sacrifice, dude, and they don't want to do it. Nobody wants to do the first one. Well, if I do it, how do I know he's going to do it? And if I fall, then I'm fucked. Well, better that you be fucked than end up in Ebenezer Scrooge land, dude, where you're like, you can't affect anybody anymore with charity because you're stuck in ghost land. Yep. You got to make a decision at a certain point to fucking let go. Because if you don't let go, that clutching, that gripping is strangling, killing the whole species, man.
Absolutely.
It's choking it to death, man. Kind of like the way when I talk, I choke people to death with my frequency. It's only because I recognize some things that to me at times fucking knock me down. It's like, bam! And I hit the fucking floor, bro. I'm like, whoa, holy shit. It's like, wow. But in a good way. Like, I'm not freaked out about it. I'm just like,
no.
Wow.
It
but
just makes you more self-aware.
You can't go running around like George Bailey in A Wonderful Life and start putting your arms around everybody and say, hey, guess what? Everything's perfect. Everything's great. Everything's all right. It's going to be okay. We're all just dreaming this shit. Physical death, it's not as bad as you think. It'll be all right. You're going to survive your death. And it's completely safe. Death is safe. Try running on that fucking philosophy around the state. See how well you do.
I wish. It
doesn't work. You can't tell them that. They don't want to hear it. Charlie tried in his music to communicate along those lines. They
weren't ready for him, man.
No.
That's for sure.
And then and here's the thing, man. If anybody listen, there's probably nobody listening now, but if there's anybody listening thinks that I'm somehow trying to fucking emulate something, I got a message for you, dude. I can't emulate anything because I'm losing touch with who this guy is, which is the most beautiful gift that I can be given as the eye becomes less and less reflective. I don't know how to reflect anything other than the thoughts that arise in consciousness. And I look at them, or somebody's looking at them. Some witness is looking at them without judgment, just looks at them and goes, oh, a thought, another thought. Wow. And there's just the observer now. Whatever that observer, whatever form it is, and somebody says, well, he's this, someone says that, let them do that. Let them look at Charlie with all the faces and go, he's this, he's that. As many people on the planet will have as many versions of how they perceive anything or any person based on what they're programmed to believe. The key is to deprogram oneself. So the programming falls by the wayside, and ultimately you're a little child again, seeing everything as it really, really, like, wow, looking far out, man.
Before all the conditioning, before all the brainwashing.
And Ram Dass calls it the somebody training. You go through most of your life as a kid, right? And then they teach you to become somebody. Then they teach you to become somebody special, right? And then as you get older, if you're smart, at 60 in India, they go into nobody training. They spend from 60 on doing devotional practice, serving other people, letting go of the ego construct, and just kind of dissipating into the atmospheric happening.
Oh,
they're expansive. They're everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Nobody training, dude. I recommend it. Because your nobody training will help you when you perform, because you won't give a shit anymore. You'll just be so free in the creativity in the moment. And if somebody needs you to change something, they say, hey, Reaper, can you do it this way? Yeah, sure. And you just make an adjustment. And you make an adjustment, and you just keep going through the process of creative awareness, and you do what's required. You study, you do all the disciplines in the craft that it requires, right? And you give it up to the audience, you give it up to your employer, you give it up to whomever, and they take it. You let them do what they want with it, and then
you wash all the shit off,
and then you take man.
That's how I feel.
You.
I know that spiritual bath.
You take you and you throw that away, and you go, yeah, but if I throw me away, what's left? I go, exactly. Here's the beginning of wisdom, dude. What's left?
Exactly.
And I can't tell anybody that. They have to experience it to know.
Oh yeah, you can only say so much. You can only lead that horse so close to the lake to drink. But at the end of the day, it's that individual that has to take that drink. One of my favorite quotes from Anton LaVey is, "Don't let that triangle with the eye fool you." The thing that you guys see on all your, greenbacks, little tidbits that they give us, after a hard day's work. It's the trapezoid beneath it that matters more. And that's each and every single one of you. It is within you to find that. And when we are unholy blessed with someone that can impart some wisdom and make us step outside ourselves for a moment and say, hey, reset. You don't pick the bones. You don't try to flock to get some shattered form of existence. You just leave him be, because he is truly, truly free. I want to thank all of y'all tonight for joining Divine Madness. As this is just always inspiring and introspective time. If we can incite anyone to just one little thing that we have to say to you, and it makes a difference in your life, well, stop worrying about all this high school bullshit and who everyone else wants you to be. At the end of the day, be like Uncle Charlie and be free. But I thank you all so much, and I thank you, Robert, for always coming on, man. It is always my absolute humble honor to be seated next to you as my brother, as family, and I appreciate your existence so much.
Thank you for having me, brother, and I'm glad that you appreciate this. Thank you, brother. Much
absolutely,
love.
because we are forever connected, all of us, and those. And I see you out there in the Black Flame universe. You guys are getting it. You really are getting something from the show. If this is your fucking therapy, God damn it, I'm going to keep doing it. Robert's going to keep doing it. We're going to keep being us. And if we can inspire you to be yourselves, your true selves, beneath the mask, then we're doing a good fucking thing. And that's the way I see that. Thank you guys so much. I want to let you know that in just a few moments, oh, fucking hell. I sin every goddamn day of my life, and I fucking love it. And I don't care who knows it, because the goddamn program is next. And that is where freedom and the great indulgence of life resides. Your ritual for feeling good and celebrating all yourselves all at one time.
There you
so
go.
We will be back. Divine Madness, of course, because I know, Robert, you're busy and, things happen. But at the end of the day, that's what makes this show fucking special, man. It ain't got to be every week because we've given you more, I think, in an hour and a half that most people get in a month of their humdrum existence. But we will be right back. And the most important thing always, stay heavy.
Thank you for joining us on Ringro's Underground. Stay tuned for more from Black Flame and